First of all, congratulations to getting to the last level. So we'll discuss about the level 3 curriculum. So I just want to give you a rough introduction of what I'm going to cover, and also at the same time I will start off the discussion with the exams part. So the first part I'm going to talk about is how you are moving from level 2 to level 3. So the difference between the two levels, what is the major change you will see from level 2 to level 3. The second, we are going to discuss the exam pattern and everything about the exam. The next thing we are going to discuss is going to be your preparation and your material. So how you are supposed to be preparing, what time frame do you need to prepare, and the material and all of that. And the next thing we will be discussing is the syllabus at length. It becomes all the more important, even more than level 2, to understand the syllabus very, very well, because everything is now very, very integrated. Because you'll have things put together and the questions are going to be asked. Like equity, fixed income, most of the subjects are going to be from the portfolio perspective. So you'll have to understand that there's going to be a lot of links between the different subjects, between the different readings. So the syllabus part becomes very, very important. To understand where which chapters, how the whole curriculum, like you will be able to see that the whole curriculum is like one subject. So you need to be able to understand the subject syllabus part very well. The next one, we'll just talk about the classes, basically how you need to go about it for the live students as well as the D2H students. And I will try to cover something about your experience, your job and your charter, because now everybody will get very curious about the experience part, how to apply for the charter, how to pay your membership fees and everything. And of course you're either working already or you're definitely going to be on the lookout for a job or whatever it is. So what skills and how to push your resume, how to push yourself. So that I just want to discuss, since we are talking about level 3 now. So starting the discussion with how the level 2 to level 3, what are the basic major changes you're looking at. The first most important change is that your exam format is going to change. In level 1 you had 120 MCQs and they were all individual MCQs. In level 2 you've seen 60 and 60 MCQs. The number of questions became half, and you already understand that the level of difficulty from level 1 to level 2 was quite significant. Level 2 to level 3, the difficulty level is not going to increase so much. Level 1 to level 2, the difficulty level was quite a few notches above, but level 2 to level 3, the difficulty may be just at par or maybe just a notch above. It's not going to be that different, right? I'll tell you the problem areas of level 3. The time management, I believe, was more of a problem in level 2 than a level 1. Even with half the number of questions, your time management becomes a problem. You have to be faster. Your reading has to also be faster, because you're talking about the item set questions over here. In level 3, the change that happens is with your morning and afternoon sessions for your level 1 and level 2. Your level 3 is going to have the same afternoon session, but at the same time this becomes an essay type questions. Now when you're talking about the essay type questions, please do not think of essay type questions to be like the ones we give in Indian exams. It's not like you have to write pages and pages of essays around the topic given or along the question given. It's not going to be like that. That is a place where I see most of the people get very, very finicky or start panicking about the essay type questions. It's absolutely not that. Essay type questions is going to be one of the most important determinants when you're looking at clearing your level 3 exams. Although you cannot take the other one lightly either. So this is going to be your 60 MCQs on 10 item sets, just the way it used to be in your level 2. I'll talk about a few things as to how they are making it more tricky or whatever. I'll get back to this. First, I want to just talk about your essay type questions. Now when you're looking at the essay type questions, it's going to be a 180 minutes paper. The paper is 180 minutes or 180 points. You've got your 3 hours, 9 o'clock to 12 o'clock in the morning, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., 3 hours, 180 minutes. The paper is not a 100-mark paper, it's a 180 points paper. It's not a 100-mark paper, it is a 180 points paper. Say for example, you've already studied RRTT LLU twice, risk return objectives, tax horizon, tax issues, time horizon, legal issues, liquidity issues, and unique constraints. You've already done that quite a couple of times, 2 times in level 1 and level 2. Now we will be having an entire 2 or 3 study sessions just based on that RRTT LLU part. Suppose we have a question on creating an actual IPS. I'm just giving you an example. Now what will happen is, I'm just dividing the pages, page 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Suppose what I'll have is, I'll have a case study. Let's say the case is given and the question is of, let's say, 8 minutes. 8 minutes. So just the way there is an 8-minute question, I'll explain what minutes are. And you have an entire case study given over here, and then there is a question A, question B, and question C, suppose. Question A is 2 points, this one is 3 points, 2, 3, 5, and this one is 3 points. Then what you have, a template is given over here. So for question A, suppose you have to choose between option this and option this, and you have to write a reason. So there are two words given over here. So let's say the investor is more risky or less risky. You have to choose above average risk tolerance, below average risk tolerance, or moderate average risk tolerance. You have to circle one of the options and write two reasons for it. That is your 2-mark question. Then part B, a template is given. You have to write 3 points about something. So you have to write point 1, point 2 and point 3 over here. Then part C comes in this page. So part C, the question is again repeated, or question is given exactly over here, and you have to circle one of the options and write 2 advantages or 2 reasons about it or 3 reasons about it. So that is how you have your 8-minute question given. Do you understand? Next, what happens is the continuation is happening now. So there will be another list of questions continuing from the previous example, additional information, on which you have, let's say, a 10-minute answer. 8, 10, 18, and there will be another one, let's say for example a 12-minute one, or there may not be. This becomes a 30-minute question. So you don't have a 100 marks paper, you have a 180 marks paper this time. Compared to the 3-hour paper where we used to give, which we used to give in college exams or class 12 or class 10, we had a 3-hour paper for 100 marks. This time we have a 3-hour paper for 180 marks. That is the first thing you need to absolutely understand. You have a 180 marks paper in 3 hours. You don't have a 100 mark paper in 3 hours. This is what they call essay type questions. So you will be given a passage you need to read. You will have 3 questions or so. The template, the outline in a paper will be made for you. You need to answer exactly in the outline. Of course, if there is no space left, 99% that is not going to be the case. If you need to write a little extra, you need to put a page number or something, and there will be few blank pages at the end of the templates. So your question template will be one booklet. You don't have a question booklet separately and a template booklet separately. Question templates, question template, and towards the end you'll have a few blank pages. You can do the rough work on the question itself. The templates needs to be neat and tidy and filled up very, very accurately. Now the students have a lot of questions with respect to their handwriting, how to write, how to attempt, all of that. Because of course you're writing after a very long time, because levels 1 and 2, you're absolutely out of the habit of writing. You're absolutely out of practice with respect to writing. For those who are pursuing something else may still have been in a habit, but especially for those who have been out of touch with studies, or who've been concentrating on level 1 and 2 in the previous year, they will find it a little difficult to get into the writing mode. It is just about getting into the mode, getting into the practice. You cannot write rubbish. You cannot write nonsense. If they're asking you 2 points, you have to write 2 points. The third point does not get evaluated. You cannot write two points in 1 point. You cannot club 2 points together in one and write and expect that the examiner will mark that as 2. You don't have to write like the following advantage are as follows. You write here, if the question is asking you to write the advantages, point 1, point 2, done. You don't have to write the statement, the advantages for this are as follows. You don't have to write that nonsense. You need to give the answer crisp and clear. You cannot beat around the bush. You cannot write 2 versions of the same thing and let the examiner decide, which we do at times in college exams and all. You cannot do all of that. You absolutely cannot do that. Either you know something or you do not know something. And it is not where you are continuously, again you have to be very careful over here, because you are not only reading and thinking continuously, you are also writing. And it is a 180 mark paper where the time constraint becomes a major issue, even way more than level 2. So attempting a 180 points paper is very, very important. You might end up, in mock papers, mock sessions and all, also I've seen with the students, they're losing 40 points, 50 points, 60 points they're missing out. Good students who have a little bit of practice also. So essay type becomes a major concern when you're looking at level 3. That is one of the most important factors, most important changes that you see from level 2 to level 3 curriculum. Another problem is that the material is not going to be very numerical. So level 1 was relatively an introduction into all the subjects. Level 2 was building up on the base, and it was quite numerical. Whether you look at alternate investment or derivative or fixed income or portfolio or quants, we had so much of number crunching. We had so much of formulas, technical, that it was so interesting. Now level 3, what happens is when you go through the curriculum, you will have a feeling that I know everything. At least the terms, you would be knowing most of the terms. Like when you're looking at the new terms coming in or new concepts coming in, of course there's going to be a lot of new stuff, but you would still have a feeling that I know this. Like when you're reading an equity chapter or a fixed income chapter, you'll feel like you know it. But there is so much more addition to it. There is so much more in-depth to it. There is so much more of analysis needed, and there is so much more of connections needed between topics That was not needed in level 2 earlier, but that is going to be needed in level 3. Now suppose there is a topic called GIPS. Now GIPS might be having a very, very small proportion, maybe a 4%, 5% kind of chunk. Now what if it comes in the morning half and you're not able to attempt it? So the point will be that in the morning half, I'll attempt those questions first where the weightages are low, so that in case they don't turn up in the evening half, and if I miss out totally in the morning half, at least I'm not getting a 0 in that particular subject. So I will spend at least 45 to 50 minutes, no, not even 45, I think an hour or so, just to talk about how to attempt the essay type questions, the do's and don'ts, and how exactly to write the answers and all of those things. Even if your handwriting is bad, it's fine. It needs to be legible. Nobody's going to judge you on your English. You have to make smaller sentences, because the longer the sentences you make, at times you make a mistake in conveying the message. Your English need not be very flamboyant or very, really having, you don't have to just quote your Oxford dictionary over there. What is needed is simple, easy sentences. The idea needs to be communicated. So there are a lot of things. So if your English is not good, if your handwriting is not good, you're not supposed to be worrying about it. You have to crack the exam irrespective. And even if your writing speed is not good, you have to do a lot of practice, because you have to read, comprehend and write. So within 8 minutes, I'll have to do all of this. So you need a lot of techniques in order to attempt the entire paper, and in order to exactly go about how to go about writing the paper. So the first thing is going to be, once I'm done with maybe 2 or 3 or 4 chapters, I will do this session with you first, after completing 3-4 lessons, so that you can apply all this in those 3-4 chapters. I'll tell you exactly. I'll come to the practice and the study part. I'll come to the preparation, study, practice and material part in a little while. But essay type becomes very important. I will spend an hour. So how will we go about it is, I will be spending an hour exactly to tell you how to go about it, giving you all the tricks and everything. Then what you will be doing is, you will be doing the practice questions and all. For the live students, what I do is, every random class or so, some students are turning up early, and I'm going to be checking your answers. Checking in the sense, not that the answer is right or wrong, but more so about how to write, where your writing skills are going wrong, or where there will be marks deducted, or where the marks should be added on. I have got nothing to do with the institute. I have got no idea about the paper. I'm just giving you a disclaimer. Don't relate to what I'm saying that I know about the institute exam or paper or anything. I have absolutely no connection with that. So just have that right. I mean, I don't want any ethics violation or anything. Because nobody actually knows how the institute papers and all are set, and you don't have to dig into all that. There is no selective studying to be done. There is no extrapolation that this is more important, this is less important. You have to study everything. There is nothing you can leave out from the curriculum. So please be very, very careful with that. This part becomes the most important part. So that is what I'll be doing with the live students. For the video students, what I'll do is, obviously I cannot check all your answers personally. I will keep on sending you scanned copies of certain papers with all the corrections done. So you will understand what mistakes are made and how not to make those mistakes. And of course, you'll be going through that 1-hour session of exactly how to go about with the papers. Also, before the exam, I will be doing a session on how to attempt the paper. I do it for all the 3 levels, but level 3 becomes extremely important just for the essay type questions. Because of this, I don't want any student to just get stuck with level 3 just because of this part, because this part becomes the most crucial part. The next thing I want to talk about is, so you understand the exam paper, and even when you're looking at the MCQs, even when you're looking at the 60 MCQs in the second half, you cannot take that lightly. You cannot even take the practice lightly. Since the numericals are going to be relatively lower, the questions are going to be more subjective, and you know that the questions are not direct. In fact, the options also have a distractor. So whatever mistake you will make, whatever assumption you will make, whatever wrong, whatever incorrect areas you will have an option based on that. So you know that the other 2 options are not random. The options are going to be very, very related, and whatever mistakes you will make, you will have those options there. The questions are going to be more tricky than difficult. If you're not very strong with your foundation, with your concept, it is going to become a problem. And also if you're not able to connect between the subjects. Because when we're looking at the 60 mark paper, the 60 set paper, so this is 180 points, so therefore this is also 180 points. But over here, every MCQ is worth 3 points over here. 180 points for 180 points paper, but over here 60 MCQs for 180 points, so therefore every MCQ is worth 3 points over here. So every MCQ is worth 3 points. Now the question is, suppose I've been given a case study, and on the basis of that I have to mark the risk tolerance level is high, low, medium. Now the problem, you will not get confused between high and low. You will get confused whether moderate or high, or low or high, or low or medium. So there will be confusions over here. So you cannot, the questions are not going to be so direct, and the questions are not going to be where you do a 2 + 2 and get the answer. It's not going to be so much of calculation intensive. but rather it is going to be testing your understanding and your confidence level also. So that becomes a problem with tackling the item set questions of level 3 as compared to level 2. When you're looking at level 2, now the next, so the one most important difference is the paper pattern. The second, when you're looking at the subjects, you will not have quants in level 2 anymore, level 3 anymore. You do not have FRA in level 3 anymore, and you do not have corporate finance in level 3 anymore. Economics per se is not there, but there is one reading on the application of economics, as in, the macroeconomic, the top-down forecast we do, economy, industry, and then the company. So that economy, that analysis, that capital market analysis point of view, economics part, there is one or two readings or so over there. Other than that, you don't find economics as such. Economics is also from the perspective of your equity or from the perspective of your portfolio. So you don't have economics as such separately given over there. Are you understanding the idea? So these 3 subjects are removed, and the focus of level 3 is going to be purely on the portfolio front. So 40% kind of weightage is given to portfolio. So that is the next part. So 3 subjects are reduced, 3 subjects are removed. Economics is also kind of from a very, very equity point of view, it's like the top-down approach, the economy part. And also when you notice the syllabus, when you're looking at the subject equity, it's equity in portfolio management. So how to do equity active portfolio management. When you're looking at fixed income, it is fixed income portfolio management. When you're looking at alternative investments, it is alternate investments in portfolio management. And portfolio is definitely portfolio management. So I'll show you the structure. The structure is very interesting. It's going to put the whole thing in a very, very cohesive manner. So you need to understand the entire thing because everything is getting very, very integrated this time. So the curriculum is quite a bit different. The level of difficulty will not be high. It's going to be maybe one notch above, but not too high. The writing part is going to be very difficult because you will have questions as to how to retain the content. Because you will see that if I'm reading a chapter in, let's say, in equity, and I'm reading another reading in, let's say, capital market expectation is economics. It's kind of economics. It's a part of economics. And when I'm looking at, let's say, equity portfolio management, I would feel like I know both of these things over there. I've seen the same thing in both the places. Suppose when you're looking at fixed income portfolio management and equity portfolio management. Fixed income will also have active portfolio, passive portfolio management and semi-active. Equity will also have active, passive and semi-active. Now, how do you put things together? So there will be a lot of confusing areas. There will be overlaps. There will be integration between the subjects. So understanding that becomes extremely important. Like there is a subject currency and there will be an asset allocation and there is your risk management and derivatives. So currency part, there might be an overlap because how do you do currency management? Using derivatives. How will you manage your currency exposures? Ultimately, you're going to be using derivatives for that. So what I'm trying to tell you is that the syllabus is going to be very cohesive. You'll feel like you know things, but then when it comes to writing the answers, again, you cannot write answers from your general knowledge. The questions are going to be pertaining to the LOS. You understand that by now. You already understood that by now, that you have a clear-cut demarcation of your study sessions, which have readings, which have the LOSs. So the questions, of course, the question is not going to be direct. Of course, the question is going to be based on a case study is kind of something. But at the same time, they are going to be pertaining to a particular LOS. So you will have to write the answers with respect to the LOS. You don't have to mug up. You cannot mug up. If you mug up, you will not clear the exam. Trust me. You will have to understand the whole thing and you'll have to understand the connections between the different subjects. You'll have to understand the major connections between the different subjects. So your paper pattern that way is going to be very different. Your syllabus, of course, I'll discuss the syllabus chapter by chapter in details right now. But you need to understand the broader picture that it's less numerical in nature. So I've talked about the item set and essay, the ranges. Now again, you understand level 1 we knew exactly 18 questions from ethics, 14 from quants and so on. Level 2 it changed, we had a little bit of ranges given. Level 3 also ranges are given, and it also becomes a problem because I don't know which part will come in the essay type and which part is going to come in the evening half in the item set questions. So that brings a little bit of uncertainty. Lot of practice is going to be needed. Video students also, I'll keep on guiding you through the WhatsApp voice notes and everything. I'll keep on sharing a feedback on the basis of the mistakes you guys will make in the live classes. So that all will happen. That will not be a problem. I'll talk about it. A lot of practice is going to be needed. You cannot be under practice, especially with respect to the essay type questions, and you cannot even ignore the item set. Of course, the focus of practice is going to be more on this one than this one. Now, there are a lot of issues like, say for example, when you're looking at the practice questions from the institute material or from the Schweizer material, say for example, you'll find that the answers are given in a very extensive manner. You don't have to write the answers that way. because the book answers have to be explaining you the concept. In the exam, you're not going to write like that. So for a 2 point, the book answer could be, let's say, 3 paragraphs long, but in the exam, it will be 3 sentences long. So we will discuss all those things in the practice sessions and all. So we will have to do that part because the book is trying to explain to you. You'll have to understand how to write the answer in the exam. I'll come to that. Now it has become a percentile system. You already know that from 2018 and onwards, the way of presenting the results have changed. So you understand that it is a percentile system. When you're looking at the 43% pass rate, say for example of level 1, out of that 45% people passed in level 2, out of which 45, 48 or 50% or so people are going to pass in level 3. So you have to understand you're competing, or your papers are going to be, your percentile is going to be ranked with respect to the people who have already cleared levels 1 and 2. So you cannot take level 3 lightly, because I've seen students taking this very, very lightly. That I know level 1 and 2, the content is similar and I can easily manage. You have to study. Please do not take the professional exams lightly. You have to give the respect, the kind of respect that these exams deserve. You have to start early, you have to practice, you have to study, you have to work hard. It's a professional exam. So out of those people who've cleared level 1 and 2, of those 45-50% people are going to pass. Also understand, you've already understood that by now, you're already in the 3rd level, but understand there are only 45 or 48% people who are going to pass. 50+% people are not going to pass. It's not like school where, everybody almost clears and goes to the next class. It's not like school anymore. So we have to put a lot of effort, and you understand that the exam fees are quite high. So every time you give an exam, you have to pay a good amount of money. So people are not enrolling in the exams just casually, because it does cost a lot of money, right? So we cannot take the exams lightly, and it's percentile system. You need to understand that. The material is less numerical, I've already told you. The number of formulas will go down. The volume of the syllabus, when you're looking at the volume, the content, it is going to be very similar to level 2. The volume, as in the extent of syllabus, is going to be similar to level 2. You will have about 35 to 38 readings or so in level 3, as compared to around 45, 50-ish in level 50 plus in level 2, and 50-ish in level 2 and 60-ish in level 1. So the number of readings are low, but the volume is relatively similar. That means the length of the chapters have increased quite a lot. Now obviously, when you're looking at level 1, level 2, we're not going to discuss Macaulay duration or a key rate duration anymore. We are going to start from the point where we assume that you already understand KRD and MD and ED and all of that. So in the same page, there will be a lot of more information to remember. So even though the volume is similar, but when you're looking at level 2 curriculum, if one page used to give you 1 idea, this time one page is going to give you 7 ideas. Are you understanding the point? So the volume wise, you would find the syllabus to be relatively similar. You would find it relatively easier in the sense that you know the terms, but the development and the analysis of the terms and the interpretation, applying of that knowledge, the application part comes in level 3. So your understanding has to be extremely high, because you have to apply yourself in the kind of questions you will get. And you don't get questions, you get very dissimilar questions, very different kind of questions every time in the exam. You'll not get exactly what you've got in the mock papers. You'll not see those questions exactly the same way in the exam. You know that, you understand that. So there will be less formulas. The volume is relatively on the lower side, if you can say so, in the number of chapters wise. But then the same content, the same page will have more ideas to throw at you that you need to remember. There is much more of portfolio. The weightage of portfolio is almost 30-40%. And as I told you, the other subjects also have more of a portfolio approach. I'll discuss the syllabus. You have to know the topics in much more depth. You cannot be overconfident, as I was telling you. For example, in ethics, you have to again sit down and practice ethics. Ethics is not about learning the formulas. You also know that ethics is more about doing the practice. You have to be in the mode of practice. So we will discuss all those things. The passing rate is relatively similar, I've already told you. Time management is the most important concern for cracking the first half of the paper. As I told you, for the live students, I will be checking, I will be seeing your answers, I will be nagging you, irritating you. If you're not writing the answers, I will be irritating you, and you have to write the answers. I will push you to the extent that you'll have to do that. For the video students, you'll have to do that on your own. I will keep on posting voice notes in your group. I'll keep on giving you updates about how the live class is going on and what you need to do and what you need to how you need to go about it based on the feedback over here. And you will get scanned copies. I'll keep on posting scanned copies of mistakes, and also I'll keep on marking in a manner so that you're able to understand what to do and what not to do. We don't know exactly how the exam scoring is going to happen. So we need to be very, very particular as to how we attempt the essay type questions. There is no point discussing that I need to get this much marks in every subject, this much in aggregate. All of that is absolutely makes no sense. So I will be discussing how exactly to study and practice once I start with the classes. I will be discussing those things, but more importantly, you will have to understand how to write the essay type answers. I'm telling you again, I know I've told you quite a few times today itself, right now itself, but essay type answers you have to write really very, very well. That is going to be, even if you know the content very well, and if you're not able to write the answers, or if you're not able to complete the paper, it creates a problem for you. The difficulty level of the institute exams are going to be quite high. Now, when you're looking at, you cannot make a prediction as to this year the exam was easy, this year the exam will be more difficult. No point getting into all those kinds of discussion, because the exam might turn out to be a very easy one. The institute exam might turn out to be a very, very difficult one. You cannot exactly comment on what the exam paper will be. So don't even think about making a forecast or a prediction or extrapolate and all of that nonsense. You simply focus on studying, getting your content thorough, and doing a lot of practice and understanding how exactly to attempt this. Interpretation of the questions will be a challenge. So if you're not understanding, if you're not being able to think from the author's point of view, because someone is giving a case study, someone is giving you a history of someone. Suppose you've been given a history of that lady, 35-year-old lady was there. Sue Smith, I don't remember the name, level 1, remember that quants question? She wanted to plan her retirement, 25 years she wants to save up, next 30 years she wants to withdraw $20,000 or $30,000 per annum at the beginning of the year. How much should she save today? That was a very, very simple mathematical TVM question. Now you will get her whole life history. She's got a child, the child does not earn, he's got a wife, you have to support that child also, the children education is there, you need so much of retirement, you want to leave the bequest to a museum. So the entire life history of a person is going to get discussed. And on the basis of that, you need to comment on whether you think the investor, what is a behavior attribute of an investor. Like there is a subject called behavioral analysis where we will discuss how to categorize an investor. Say for example, a person who's got a job. Suppose it's given in the question that so-and-so, she's doing the job of so-and-so in so-and-so company. So suppose she's got a stable kind of a job. In that case, her risk-taking capacity on the portfolio should be higher, but her nature of employment is on the risk-averse side. So even a single statement given like this, that she's working in so-and-so profession, that also is going to give you a good idea about that also is going to be considered when you are formulating that. Suppose in the question it is given that this client came to you to get her portfolio made, and she told you that she heard from her friends that tech stocks are very hot IPOs right now, and she's thinking about it. That says that the investor is risk-taking. They want to take risks. They're seeming to be aggressive, but at the same time, they are less informed. They are not an individualist kind of investor, but they are maybe more kind of an adventurous kind of an investor. Someone who's not doing thorough analysis, but someone who's willing to take chances. So based on these kind of attributes, you'll have to profile the investor as to what according to different models are there. BK model is there, a Pompian model is there are multiple models and all, so we'll have to probably categorize the investors. So are you understanding what I'm trying to say? You know RRTTLLU, but you need to learn how to apply the RRTTLLU, probably create an IPS statement for the investors. That you'll have to know now. So you'll have to apply, you'll have to put together everything, and you'll have to apply what you're doing. So that is a major difference when you're looking at this part. Your exam, you know these things, your exam deadlines, you know about it. I was just talking about the changes from level 1 to 2 and your exam pattern. Your exams, your registration deadlines will be October first week for your June examinations, and the next deadline is going to be February, and the next deadline is going to be March. You can go to the cfainstitute.org website and you can check for the exact deadlines and the payments. Please make sure that your payments and all are done a week in advance at least. Your passports are there, the passports are not expired. If the passport is expiring between the exam day, the registration date and the exam day, please get it renewed during that time, and also update your records on the institute's website before the admit card is released. In case of any issues, you're supposed to be mailing the institute and coordinating with them. Time crunch I've covered, this I've covered, this. Your error rate again has to be low, because again 60 MCQs are there, so you cannot make too much of an error. In the essay type questions, if you're making an error, you're losing out on time. So accuracy is important, and how to figure out which questions to attempt first and all, that becomes important. Difficulty level I've told you. these things I've told you. All right, and the next thing is that exactly how to attempt the essay type questions, we'll have a discussion once we start. And also before the exam, a month before the exam, I'll be doing a session with you, maybe a 20-minute session on how exactly to revise your curriculum, and a 45-minute session or so on how exactly to attempt your paper, which is going to be very important. So I will explain that. I will explain that once I'm coming to the preparation and the material part. Do you have any question with respect to the exam? Any questions with respect to the exam format or the exam or attempting the exam or the pattern of the exam? Understood the idea, the basic change between level 2 to level 3?